important is non-verbal communication and what are the various types of it, written communication, speech, kinesics. These are all parts of non-verbal communication. We discussed written, we talked about speech and non-verbal, wherein we discussed paralanguage and prosodics. We went ahead to talk about paralanguage, which included voice quality, pitch, rate, volume, style. And then we also spoke about prosodics, which includes the rhythm, the punctuations, intonations, and stress. I also spoke about kinesics and what it is. It is the physical movement of your body and how you use your gestures, eye movements, facial expressions, everything, right? And I told you what good postures are. You don't slouch, you actually stand towering, your legs spread apart when you want to show confidence, right? How your shoulders should be, arms should not be crossed. Look at these three pictures. The same man standing in three different positions, and the middle one certainly is a good posture. We also talked about gestures, speech-based gestures, and without speech gestures. I gave you these examples. You can see the same two men. And then I said how important it is when we go for a job interview. Uh, the way you should sit, the way you should present yourself. It's very important to hold a good posture. Yes? Okay. And today we will begin with facial expressions now. Right? Now, looking at these two people on the screen, there is this one who is tickled by something, and this lady over here, she is probably cracking that joke. Yeah. So there are no words, though I had written a few words which do not match our uh, fonts supported by the system. But then certainly you can get through their expressions that they're having a good time. They're probably sharing a joke. The same lady showing multiple facial expressions over here, right? She's not happy over here. In this picture, she's talking about something surprising and interesting, right? Look at the other pictures of the same lady. She's a very well-known actress from Indian film industry, and these are pictures from her different movies. Her name is Madhuri Dixit. Okay, so looking at all these pictures, the importance of gestures is certainly underlined, and all the more the eye contact. How beautifully explained. There is anger in these eyes. There is this naughtiness in these two eyes. These two eyes, the same eyes over here, look frightened and sad, right? So, how important it is to use your eyes and eye contact in the right way. How do you do that? The length of your gaze matters a lot. So if you keep looking at one person for a long period of time, it shows two, three things, right? Firstly, it could be a romantic interest. If you're looking constantly at one person, it could probably be your romantic interest in that person. It could probably be your anger or angst against that person. You're probably not happy with that person. These are two different emotions, certainly. And when somebody looks, you're able to understand what that expression, what those eyes hold, right? Then the frequency of glances. If you're looking at somebody again and again, it certainly means you're interested in that person in so many various ways. Probably you're impressed by that person, and hence you want to look at that person once again, right? So the frequency of glances matters a lot. Thirdly, the pattern of fixation. Are you looking at that person all, involved in that person? Are you looking at that person trying to avoid being noticed? Are you looking at that person because of his or her clothes? You're scanning that person top to bottom. All these fixations, the patterns of fixations also matter a lot, right? So eye contact is another non-verbal communication which conveys a lot of information. Then comes the attire, the clothes. So your personality, your background, your financial status, a lot of other things are revealed by what you wear, right? So that is the reason that when you're talking about business communication, everybody specifies that you should wear the right clothes, right? So when you're wearing formal clothes, it shows that you are in a mood to do business. You want to talk about business, right? You're serious about it. You're sincere. You're interested in doing business, right? It also tells about your background, how well kept you are, how mannered you are, how decent you are. All this is revealed by your clothes. So it's important that you wear the right clothes. Your financial status, somebody who probably does not have sufficiently good clothes may not be able to wear them. So when there's somebody who is able to afford those clothes, at least you should be able to wear clean, nice, properly maintained clothes, right? They should be nicely ironed. They should be well kept. They may not be faded, right? Then your profession is also revealed by certain clothes. So somebody wearing this kind of cap and gloves would show that this person comes probably from a medical background, maybe. Yeah. So your profession too is revealed by your clothes. A rock rock artist, a singer, would wear certain funky kind of clothes, and it will be very, very obvious from his attire that that person is an artist. Your culture is revealed by your clothes. Wherever you come from, the country you come from, the religion that you hail from, all that is revealed by your clothes. Your mood is often revealed by your clothes. So it's very important that you wear the right clothes if you want to have a complete, wholesome 360-degree communication. Another case study. So this over here is a picture from Cannes Film Festival in France, and this lady over here is another Indian actress. So the clothes that she wears ooze confidence. They show her interest. They tell about her age, that she's a young girl, her authority, right? Her values. So all that is revealed from the clothes that you wear. The same actress is now wearing Indian clothes over here. So she is boasting about her culture and her nationality. The next important thing over here is distance. Distance between two people or two parties who are communicating. So look at these various group of people standing in this picture. Oh, on the extreme left, if you see, there are two, three people standing very close to each other. And from just by looking at them, from the looks itself, we can make out that these people are friends. Now look at the second two people, second set of people, the two people standing over here. The kind of intimacy they hold, it shows that they are probably seeing each other. The next set of two people over here, the third one, these are two people who know each other but may not be very closely associated. Yes, just by looking at them, you can make out. And the distance between them is a very important factor that explains it. And the last one probably are two people who know each other. They may be acquaintances, but then they are not very closely associated with each other. Yes, so that's how distance tells a lot of things. Yeah, how do you study the right distance to be maintained? This study is called proxemics, space and distance. The study of space and distance is called proxemics. So when there are two people, there is something called the intimate zone. Zone 1 is the intimate zone. When these two people maintain a distance between 0 to 18 inches, it is called the intimate zone. Your parents, your children, your partners, your spouse, they all come close into your 18-inch circle. Zone 2 is the personal zone. It is between 18 inches to 4 feet. People who are close enough, your friends, your relatives, they they can enter this zone. Zone 3 is your social zone, which starts from 4 feet and goes up till 12 feet. So your co-workers, people in social gatherings, work situations, all these come under zone 3, right? The social zone. And the fourth one, the zone 4, is the public zone. So people who are barely known to you or unknown to you, when they interact with you, usually it is 12 feet and beyond. Total strangers, maybe some performers, important officials, right? So these are the various zones that you can maintain. Now, one, when you want to give signal that you're close to somebody or how close are you feeling with somebody, you can maintain the zones as per the. I see these are more or less generalist kind of ideas. It can be a few inches up and down, but then on a broader perspective, when I say these zones can be maintained. So when you want to give a signal to somebody how close you feel to that person, you can enter those zones or allow them in those zones. And when you want to tell them that okay, remain away from me, right? You want to make sure that they do not enter your personal zones, you can maintain that distance. So, and then of course understanding how close the other person wants to be with you, that's how you can make use of proxemics, right? Another non-verbal communication factor. Yeah. Okay. um okay, the same concept of zones, it is being explained through pictures over here. So this is your intimate zone, then comes the personal zone, beyond that is the social space, and after which comes the public space. Cool. Okay, another factor which is called haptics. And what is haptics all about? It talks about touch. So how you touch someone, or how you being touched by someone, again conveys a lot of information. So hence that too is communication, right? So we teach our kids, I'm sure in your countries, at your places also, you teach young kids about good touch and bad touch. Do you people do so? Yes. Do we tell them about good touch and bad touch in your country? Yeah. Oh yes, it's so very important,
Yes, we
especially
learn
with young
through
ones.
as we grow up.
Yes, it's so important these days. So yes, all this is called haptics, right? So there are people who are warm with you, who are friendly. Look at the picture over here, who are warm and friendly with you. They might cuddle you, they might come close to you, pat you, right? And when you're angry with somebody, the way you touch them, that conveys a different message, right? When somebody holds your hand, you know in what sense are they touching you. Are they being threatening to you? Are they angry with you? Are they warm with you? Are they turning hostile? Whatever, right? You understand what it conveys, the touch itself. I'll give you some examples over here. Look at these two actors from Indian film industry. Now, in this picture, it's from a movie where they portray a romantically involved couple, right? So look at the closeness between them. Look at the way they're touching each other, right? In the next picture, just into it, the same actors, they are being more friendly and jovial, but not romantic per se. In this picture, they were brother and sister, the same actors. Look at these pictures now. Here they're being naughty. Here it's all about romance and all these two, three pictures. Here they're having fun. They were in these two pictures. They were portraying a guy and his sister, brother and sister, and the picture in right in the center, it's the same two actors, but they are maintaining a distance between them. Yes, a social distance. They're just co-workers in this picture. It's a real picture. All the rest pictures are from movies. So this is how distance and touch is important. It plays such a crucial role in our lives, and it communicates a lot. So that's how we tell people about certain things without even speaking any words or writing any words. And we also gather information from the same people without receiving any words, right? How important it is. Going on to the next topic, it's about signs, designs, logos, colors, lightings, right? So the companies which are working in, say, media, or say, if they're dealing with youngsters and fun things, they will be using more brighter shades, say yellow, red, green, right? The companies or organizations that are dealing with, say, probably if they are in medical sector, in health sector, they'll be using cooler colors, peaceful colors like light blue, green. These are the colors that make you feel at peace, right? So that's how these signs and symbols and logos and designs are. Yeah, somebody, you want to say something? Usman, you want to say something? Yeah, Usman? No? Okay, then I'd request you to keep your mics off, right? So all these designs, all these logos, the colors being used, the fonts being used, they convey a lot of information. Look at this. I'm giving you a lot of examples, right? On one page. So when you go out there on road, you can see a lot of symbols there. This one which says stop. This one which says do not take a U-turn. This symbol says yes, there could be animals around crossing the road, so go slow. Do not enter signboard. These are all traffic signals, right? Now look at these. These are symbols of certain companies, right? Certain brands. Look at these. All of them convey certain information. Yeah, and they use certain, so Nike, if they're working for youngsters or sports persons, they would be using colors which are brighter and more enthusiastic. Cool. Look at this picture now. Now just by looking at them we know what they're talking about. If you go to restaurants, if you go to public places, you would see they have washrooms, restrooms for men and for women. They use different symbols these days to tell which one is a guy's restroom and where exactly do you have women's restroom. So probably this is how they would portray it in a fine dine restaurant or a classic place, right? And probably in a more rustic place, they would be using this picture. In a more cool place, they might be using this picture, right? Look at them. Here, it's offbeat. Each picture conveys a message, the same message, but differently, right? So it also talks about the image of that brand, the kind of place it is, the kind of the mood of that place, and certainly the core message. Okay, these are certain Indian politicians, and I would want to skip these two slides. Chronomics. Now, chronomics is use of time. Chronomics is use of time, right? So, how do you make use of time? The people who follow time strictly. There could be people who believe time is money. So, when they follow time very strictly, we call them monochronic time system. There are people who do a lot of things at the same time. They are called polychronic uh, time system followers. So multitasking people and people who focus on one thing at a time. But then what really is important over here to discuss and understand is that time also conveys a lot of information. How? How? People who come on time, they show that they're interested in what they are being invited for or what they're coming for, right? Reaching your office on time, you're serious about your job, you're sincere about your job, right? If you could close all the doors. Sorry? No, at least these doors. So, yeah, the people who follow time, they simply convey the message that yes, we are serious about things, we are sincere about things, right? People who often come late for things, latecomers, they often convey the message that they do not care. And hence, it is always good that you reach on time. In fact, a few minutes before time, if possible. Again, at the same time, there could be people, there could be people, there could be people who come much before time. Yes, there are people who come much before time. What does that convey? That you're not confident, probably, that you would reach on time, that you're too concerned about it, that probably you had nothing else to do. Yes, so it's important that you follow time. You follow time strictly. Okay, now there is something called meta communication. Now, what is meta communication? It is the interpretation of the message by the receiver. So there are sentences which may mean something else as well, which may mean something else as well. Like, look at the first picture. Now, this guy was going somewhere and his car breaks down. Now, he's speaking to somebody on phone. So, when he says, "That's just what I needed today," now this sentence has two meanings, right? This guy is probably speaking sarcastically. That is just what I needed today. Yeah. But does that convey the complete information, the exact information that he wanted to say? Probably no. Yeah. Again, look at the second picture, the smaller one. This girl is speechless. But why? She is speechless of probably something frightening or too surprising. Again, another lady in the picture below, she too says that I'm speechless. Yeah, she too feels she is speechless. But then her being speechless is because of the pleasant surprise that she has got. So interpreting the same message received by the receiver could be done differently by different people. And hence this is called meta communication. Right? I will take another case study. So this gentleman over here in this picture is the former president of United States of America. In this picture, he is bowing down. He has bowed down to this young, beautiful, small child, and all of us know that he's being gentle to that child, warm to that child. Yes, and he's showing his gentle, manly body language. Right, all the various things that we've discussed in past few minutes, we can make use of all of them right now. We can make use of all those things. See the kind of distance being maintained, the way he's touching, look at the eye gaze, look at the way other kids are looking at them, right? The kind of clothes they're wearing. Yes, all that is easily interpreted over here. Again, the same fellow, President Obama, known for his confident, gentlemanly, authoritative body language. In this picture, he is giggling. Yes, he's being casual, is enjoying with his friends informally. Yeah, almost the same setup, almost the same kind of clothes that they're wearing, but then it's slightly informal. Look at the gestures, look at the uh, eye gestures, eye movement, right? They're tightly shut, the eyes. He's grinning, all his teeth are being shown. Now, the same fellow in his office holding a baseball ball under his arm and he's speaking on phone. He has put off his jacket, his coat, and he has kept his hand on his waist. It shows that he's being informal and cool, yet balanced. He's fit and health conscious. He's being manly and gentlemanly. All this in one picture. How do you know that? From the accessories that he's using, from the attire that he's wearing, from his expressions, from the setup. All that is conveyed. Now look at these two people, President Putin and President Obama, right? So in this picture, this was a picture taken by some US media, and uh, on President Putin's slouching poster, people commented that it was like a school kid. So probably he was caught at the wrong moment. But the right body language has to be maintained in every moment. That's what is important. The next picture. Look at how President Obama is interacting with the various leaders of different countries, right? He has kept his hand over the shoulder of this man. Then he's tapping here. He's shaking hand, but then holding the other person's hand, right? So in all these pictures, he is being friendly yet authoritative, like a big brother. But things do go wrong with him as well. Now here he was probably trying to be warm with the lady, but then the lady was not prepared. So the closeness that he has taken up in this picture, the way he is holding her and the way he is waving at people, it somehow shows that he's being too close to the girl, to the lady. And in this picture, though he was trying to be casual in the picture, but it's not a very decent picture. Yeah, he has lost his grace in this picture. The same man, right? Things do go wrong. We need to be careful about them whenever we are in public eyes and whenever we are talking business, especially. Yeah, more pictures. Look at the way people are holding each other, and yeah, things are going wrong. Body language. Now look at this picture over here. We're talking about body language even now. Now, one of them is the actual player who had participated in some international games, and the other one is a copy of that athlete in a movie which was based on the life of that particular athlete. Can you really make out which one is the actual picture? The second one is the actual picture. Milkha Singh was the athlete. And in the first picture, Farhan Akhtar is the actor who portrayed Milkha Singh in the biographic movie. So which simply means that these body language skills can be acquired. It is not necessarily inborn. It can be acquired. You can learn these skills and use them the way you want to. And this is the key. This is the key when it comes to business communication. Now we're moving on to Unit 4, which is about the forms of communication at workplace. There's something called formal communication. What is formal communication? It is all about official communication, which is governed by specific communication channels, hierarchies, and organizational policies. All the communication in an organization which is formal, which is very specific, it goes through certain channels, it follows the hierarchies, it has certain policies, norms to be followed. There are etiquettes, procedures, channels, and documentation involved in it. All that is called the formal communication in an organization or business communication. And there are various types of formal communications: vertical communication, horizontal communication, and diagonal communication. What is vertical communication? When somebody from a higher rank in hierarchical position in an organization speaks or communicates to somebody at a lower position in that same hierarchy in the same organization, it is called the vertical communication. Somebody at a higher position speaking to somebody at a lower position, or vice versa. A subordinate communicating to his superior. So vertical communication has two aspects, downward or upward. When somebody who's a senior is communicating to somebody who is junior to him, it is called downward communication. And when somebody is communicating to a senior ranked person in the hierarchy, it is called the upward communication. Junior to senior is upward, senior to junior is downward. Now, horizontal communication is the communication happening between two people of the same rank. While diagonal communication is a communication which takes place between a person from a lower rank in a different hierarchy to somebody who is in a different hierarchy altogether, a different channel altogether, and is at a higher position. So higher, lower, and different chains is diagonal. Further explaining the same thing. Vertical communication, superior to subordinates, downward, subordinates to superiors is upward, right? So what are downward vertical communications? Job instructions, policy documents, official announcements, production reports, procedure manuals. These are all downward communications. What are upward communications? Requests, work reports, complaints, feedback. They're all upward communications. Example, right? What is horizontal or lateral communication? Purchase manager speaking to production manager, or vice versa, or any one of them speaking to quality control manager or sales manager. When any of them communicate to each other, it is all horizontal or lateral communication. Diagonal or cross communication. Now look at this picture. Vice president talking to president is a diagonal, is simply a vertical communication, right? But from a certain department, a person in a certain department, say accounting, and that person is communicating with the vice president marketing, it will be a diagonal communication, right? So one department, one channel, and different rank from other channel, it will be called a diagonal communication. Now, informal communication. What is, so till now we were studying formal communication. Now, what is informal communication? Within the organization, there are two types of communications, as I said some time ago, and these two kinds of communications.
Kindly mute your mics, colleagues.
Mute your mics, everybody. Mute yourself.
Salisu, please mute your mic. Salisu.
Please mute your mic. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So within that same organization, there is informal communication also happening. Look at the pictures. Now, these are all people. They're probably sharing a joke or some very interesting piece of information among themselves. Yeah. And this girl is trying to overhear what they're talking about. This is probably something naughty or something very fishy that they're discussing. Here, two colleagues, they are discussing a joke among themselves. Here in this picture, in the office premise only, but during the lunchtime, they're discussing certain things. It could be family, it could be a joke, it could be some other plan, right? So this is all informal communication in an organization. So again, this is also business communication, but an informal part of business communication. Now, why is it important? Why is it important? See, this this informal communication has another aspect, which is called the grapevine. Now, what do you know? What is grapevine? Grape is a fruit, and it has a climber. It grows on a climber, which grows in all the directions. Right, wherever it goes, it gets space. It will grow in that direction. Similarly, when there is an information in an organization, and that reaches from one person to another. It is called a grapevine communication, and that happens through informal chains, like in these pictures. And hence it is called the grapevine communication. Now this is very important in a lot of in a lot of organizations. Why is it important? A lot of managers, when they want to know how will a certain decision impact the organization, how will the employees take it, how will their subordinates accept it, would they be accepting it open heartedly, or would they resist? In such situations, the managers leave that information with one or two employees informally. Now, those employees, knowingly or unknowingly, share that information with other members. And it grows, it spreads everywhere. And when it spreads, people show their responses. If they're happy about it, people in general are going to be happy. And the feedback would be so. And if they're not happy about it, naturally there will be a resistance. People may not be happy. People may be angry about it. So the manager will get a signal if that decision is right or not. So that's how grapevine is important. There are various networks of grapevine. One is called chain. One person, A telling it to B, B tells it to C, C tells it to D, and so on and so forth. The second kind of network is gossip. One person sitting in the center talking to a lot of people, telling everybody, you know what? Oh, yes, that person is getting divorced. A telling it to everybody. Yeah. Then probability. So A is friends with F and D. A tells it to F and D. D will tell it to two, three other people. F will tell to two, three other people. So some of them will get to know. B gets to know. B does not get to know. I does not get to know. J does not get to know. And there are others who get to know it. So probability chain. And there is a network of cluster. A telling to people whom he is acquainted with. F telling to people whom she is acquainted with. B telling to people whom he is friendly with. So everybody gets to know, but through their own channels. So these are different types of informal networks. Now, when all this communication takes place, when people are interacting with each other, when people are working with each other, it is natural that there will be conflicts among them. And when there are conflicts, we need to resolve those conflicts as managers, as superiors, as people working in that organization and wanting good for the organization. So it's called conflict resolution. It is a way of finding solution of inter-organizational or intra-organizational conflicts among employees. How do you do that? First and foremost, it is about active listening. Whoever is trying to resolve the issue, the mediator, the manager, or the friend or peer must listen very carefully. Unless and until you listen carefully, you cannot be a good communicator, and you cannot resolve the problems properly. You need to set the goals right for the meeting, and motivate people from all the parties involved and set certain goals. See, this is what we need to do, and then begin. Stay professional. You need to be unbiased. You need to be fair. You need to be clear about the norms and rules of the organization, right? Keep check on the emotional responses. Stay calm at all the times. Yes, stay professional. Stay neutral. You cannot speak from one party's perspective. You have to take everybody's opinions. You should be able to do justice to everybody's requirements, needs, or problems. And then if there is something wrong, you need to be very firm and direct in saying what is right and what is wrong. Call a spade a spade. And then do the fact checking. You need to probably go through the witnesses, the facts, the statistics, the data, everything. And then only after checking the facts, you should be going for a solution. or a conclusion. So in this conflict resolution system, there is something called the crisis communication. And there are stages of crisis communication. See, that when multiple people are working together, it is very, very natural that there will be conflicts among themselves. And there are various ways of handling these conflicts. One way is to do it even before any conflict arises, which means pre-crisis system of tackling it, pre-crisis management, then crisis management when there is a problem, and then post-crisis once the problem is over, but then there are repercussions, there are lingering effects. So what is pre-crisis? Monitoring the crisis risk, taking decisions how to avoid those risks, how to avoid any kind of crisis from happening, training people to be involved and handling problems, and then training them to handle crisis. All this comes under pre-crisis stage. Then, under the crisis stage, you need to be very, very vigilant. You need to collect all the information and data, process that information, do your fact checking, do everything that is possible, and create and disseminate crisis messages. Solve, resolve. Yeah. And post crisis, when I say, I mean assess the crisis management effort. What was done? Was it right? Has it done the right impact that it should be leaving? Provide a follow-up crisis message. Is the pain over? Is there anybody still sulking? Right? So pre-crisis, crisis, and post-crisis. So this was about that. Now, I want to give you some information about good body language in interviews. So I don't know, should I talk about it right away, or should I take it up sometime later? Firstly, I should move to the second block because we have limited time. So if there is time left, I will get back to the presentation one, block one, and I will be talking about the body language in an interview thing, right? I will rather switch to MMPC 007 block 2 portion now. Block 2 will be covering oral communication at work. So we'll be talking about listening and reading skills. We'll be talking about interpersonal communication. We'll be discussing communication in meetings, and we will be talking about presentation skills in this unit, in this block rather. So unit 5 talks about listening and reading skills. What is listening? See, there are two things. You hear and you listen. And there is a difference between listening and hearing. Hearing is more of a physical activity. You hear it from your ears automatically. If there is a sound around, you will automatically hear it. But then listening is not only about hearing. Listening is also about comprehending that information. So you hear it and then you understand it, comprehend it. And then you retain it, you keep that information. And then you are able to recall that information. If you're able to do all these four things, only then you are listening. Hear, comprehend, retain, and recall. Hearing or listening? Look at the poster. Not sure if I should ask her to repeat herself. I'm not sure if I should ask her to repeat herself or just pretend I heard her. So did this person listen? No. He just heard the sounds, but did not understand. And he is not able to say it. He's probably nervous or frightened, and he does not want to say it. He's not sure if he should ask it or not. Hence, the communication is not complete. So what is required in listening? How do you listen? And how do you become a good listener? To listen, you require focus. And what does focus mean? Focus means paying attention. And when you pay attention, you will understand it is not only the words that you are understanding, it is also how it is said. Paralanguage, proxemics, everything. Yeah? The use of language, the use of voice, the modulations, the pitch, tone, the volume, everything will convey messages. And if you're able to comprehend that all, understand all of it, catch all of it, then you're listening. Otherwise, you're just hearing. They say adults spend an average of 70% of their time engaged in some sort of communication. Through the day, 70% of your time you're communicating. And of this, 45% is spent listening. Half of it. Almost, yeah? So there are certain principles of listening. If you want to be a good listener, good communicator, you need to learn and remember these 10 pointers. What are they? Stop talking. If you want to listen, you have to stop talking yourself. 2, prepare yourself to listen. Put things out of your mind. So you're not talking, but then there's something going on within your mind. That is not listening. Put the speaker at ease. If you want to listen, the person in front of you, the other party, he should be easy and comfortable. Only then he'll be able to communicate properly. And that's how you'll be able to listen properly. Yeah? Remove distractions. Any kind of distractions in between, anything that is disturbing you has to be removed. Empathize and be patient. Try and understand the other person's situation. Be patient with that person. Avoid personal prejudice. Try to be impartial. So you remember yesterday we discussed this case study where there was this young boy, who had long, beautiful hair. And most of us understood, most of us took that small child to be a girl. It is because we are prejudiced. We have certain notions kept in our mind. And we follow those notions. We do not want to experiment. We do not want to understand what the facts are. And you become partial. You become biased. So do not have any kind of prejudice when you're wanting to be a good listener. Listen to the tone, listen to the ideas, not just the words. So words could say something, but there is the idea, intonation, mood, what that person is trying to say. We need to listen to ideas actually. You need to get the whole picture, not just isolated bits and pieces. So at times we listen to some things, and rest of those things we avoid. We don't pay attention to it. And what happens? You get only half of the information. Then, not only the information being said through words and sounds, also what is being said through non-verbal communication is important. So everything, clothes and body language and eye contact and distance and smells and colors and whatever, everything, non-verbal communication. What are the benefits of good listening? We have learned how to be a good listener. Now, what are the benefits of good listening? It will reduce miscommunication. It will increase your confidence. It will increase your knowledge. It will increase your productivity. It will save time and cost. Otherwise, you will have to redo and redo and redo the same communication. I will just quickly go through the types of listening. There is biased listening, there is sympathetic listening, there is empathetic and therapeutic listening, critical listening, informational listening, appreciative listening, selective listening, and rapport listening. Biased listening is what? When you already hold certain thoughts in your mind and you are lean towards a certain idea. Biased listening. Sympathetic listening, when you listen to somebody and you feel bad for that person. Empathetic listening, when you can understand what that problem is and you're trying to help them, console them therapeutically. Yeah. Critical listening, when you're trying to find faults in it, when you're trying to find the details of it. Critical listening. Informational listening, when you're trying to gather information from listening. Appreciative listening, you're listening to, say, somebody telling you a poem or a song, and you listen to it, or maybe a speech, you listen and appreciate it is good or bad, right? Selective listening, there are some things that you want to listen, some other things you don't want to listen. Selective listening. Rapport listening, there is a rapport between two people, there is this tuning between two people, there is this matching of wavelength and frequencies between two people. That is rapport listening. I'm taking a case study now. Lululemon, the founder, Chip Wilson, blames overweight women in very public gaffe. The founder of the company, Lululemon. This company, they make, uh, you know, uh, clothes for sports, right? So they had made certain kind of clothes, right? Now, when somebody asks them, uh, you make clothes only for certain body shapes and not for people who are a little overweighted. Why do you do so? So the founder, Chip Wilson, said, we make it for people who are fit and we want other people to get fit. So this is what hampered their image. That you're not catering to people, you want them to fit into a certain mold and everybody to look same. It is people who are, you body shaming people, right? It is them who should decide how they want to look, whether they want to remain healthy, whether they want to be fat or plump. It's their choice. You cannot blame them. If you're catering to certain people, do not body shame others. Another example, high form foods. So, Sriracha is some sort of a sauce that this company, High Form Foods, was making, and their factory was situated in a locality where their people were, uh, living around that factory. Now, this factory was emitting certain strong odors, some smells that people were not comfortable with. So these people living around that factory, they would actually go and tell them, file, tell them about their complaint that these smells are coming from a factory and it makes us uncomfortable, nauseatic, and people fell ill also. But the company did not listen to those people. Listen. They heard, but they did not listen to them. And as a result, the people in that locality, they went to court, and the court ordered them to stop processing for 30 days via state health officials. So this hampered their business. Had they listened to people when they came to them initially, this kind of a punishment is something that they would have avoided. They could have avoided. So what is active listening? Clarity, summarize, showing interest, feelings, encouraging, non-verbal behavior, no interruptions and distractions, reflecting, and avoiding any kind of prejudice. I will quickly go through the process of communication now. Process of listening now. So, firstly, you identify. There is some information being thrown at you in form of sound, identification, then reception, receiving that information, then comprehending, understanding that information, then evaluating whether it is important, how important, in what way important, evaluating it, then retention, keeping that information, and then responding to it. Then only communication is complete. So that is what process of listening is all about. Another case study, Kodak. Now, Kodak has, from very olden times, been manufacturing cameras. and they were the business leaders, market leaders in camera making. Now, earlier there were cameras which used this film to click pictures. But when digital photography started, the company failed to move. Very interesting part of it. There was an engineer in Kodak factory, and he was the one who invented the first digital camera. In 1975, Steve Sasson, he made the first digital camera somehow. And he went to the company officials and management and top leadership and showed them the invention that now he has made this digital camera, and he requested that he would want Kodak company to partner with him or associated to get associated with him in certain way and start producing these digital cameras. But the company heard him and not listened to him. They shelved the project. In some time by 2012, the situation arrived that this company Kodak went bankrupt, because very quickly, within a few years, there were other companies who were producing digital cameras, and digital cameras took up the market rapidly. Before Kodak could really register and act, they went bankrupt. Toyota, another case study. Toyota was facing very massive safety issues, and they had to recall employees, they had to do a lot of things. So there were certain employees who wrote memos to the CEO telling them that cost cutting measures were impacting the safety of the cars. Don't do this cost cutting. It is not safe. It is compromising with the safety of the car. But then the top officials did not lend ears. They did not listen to the subordinates. And hence, they continued making the same cars. The brake systems, they resulted into 5 deaths of the people who were using those cars. And people in the market, they went crazy about it. They went against the company Toyota. And then Toyota had to call back 8 million cars. 8 million cars they had to recall, which was a huge loss on them. Had they listened to their own employees in earlier stages, this loss could have been stopped. So, what is it that hampers listening? Information was coming, but it was not received well. Why? Because there were certain barriers in communication, barriers in listening. What are these barriers? First and foremost, selective listening. In all these case studies that we just now discussed, people were selective. There were certain things they wanted to listen and certain only hear. They had preconceived notions about the speakers or the people who were communicating. They had biases about the topics, and so they did not listen. Another barrier to this listening is speed of speech and the speed of thought. So you could be hearing it at a very fast speed, but processing the information at a slow speed. Lack of interest. You may not have interest in what is being taught. So I'm speaking here from India, Bhopal, and there's somebody sitting in some other part of the world and is not interested in what I'm saying. So damn, how would that person listen? Whatever I'm conveying should be interesting, right? And it should interest the people. So lack of interest is another reason that people don't listen. Believes in attitude. We believe in certain thing and we have a certain attitude according to it. And we do not want to move even a centimeter apart from it. Then there are reactions to speaker. When people give reactions to speakers, they might get offended, they might get frightened, they might get a lot of things might happen looking at the reactions, and as a result the communication hampers. Repetition of words. Now this comes from the speaker's end. The speaker is repeating the same thing again and again. How would the person understand the whole idea? They would get confused. Information gets distorted. And there are external distractions. There could be sounds around. There could be the media may not be working well. Your mics may not be working well. Whatever. External distractions. How do you overcome these barriers? Simple. Reduce the distraction. Prioritize what you want to listen. Prioritize your speakers. Practice reflecting. So not only hear but reflect also. Ask questions in between and listen carefully before advising. Another case study in 2009, BlackBerry was a it was the market leader at one point of time in the mobile handset market. Yeah. But then they reported a loss of $4.4 billion, a 56% revenue decline. Why did that happen? There was a time when everybody was wanting to have a BlackBerry phone. BlackBerry phone. It was the thing in the market. When did that happen that Apple and Android phones took over the market? The former RIM insider, he once said, the problem wasn't that we stopped listening to customers. We believed we knew better what customers needed long time than they did. So customers knew what they wanted. Market was changing. Touch screen mobiles were coming. Colored screen, bigger screen. Cameras were coming in mobile. BlackBerry was not ready to change. And hence, people changed BlackBerry. People changed their choices. So BlackBerry did they listen? They probably did. But did they react to it, respond to it? No. Listening was not complete. So till here, it was all about listening. Now, we'll talk about reading. See, it is all about communication, right? And you have to do a lot of reading also when we are concerned with business communication. A lot of reports keep coming, a lot of statistics, a lot of documentation. Reading is so very important, whether it is a hard copy on papers or it is a soft copy on screen. But then you have to read a lot. What is reading? Recognizing the words? Yes, partly. What is reading? Understanding those words? Oh, certainly. And fluently moving through it is reading. So tidbit here and there you recognize the words and you understand them? No. You have to do it fluently, continuously, constantly. Then only you would call it reading, proper reading. Now look at this. Illegally parked cars will be fined. Is that correct? No. There is a problem with it. There is a grammatical mistake in it. If you say will be fine, it means illegally parked cars will be okay, acceptable, good, fine. But had you written fined, FINED, it would have meant that you will be charged penalty if you park your vehicle here. Fine and fined. Read carefully. Yeah? So when you are talking about reading, it is very important that you expand your vocabulary. It's so crucial that you have a good vocabulary. Only then you understand everything. How do you do that? Discover the origin of the word. Where does the word come from? Concentrate on practical concepts around the word. Link words to remember them. Go through vocabulary tests. Go through word awareness programs. Create a group of words, similar words or similar sounding words or similar utility words or words that your organization, your business or your the field that you're working in make a group of those words which are common in those groups, in those sectors. Contextual meaning. When you're reading, there are certain words that you may not understand, but you can understand the meaning of the word through the context in which it is used. And obviously, to have a good vocabulary, you should read a lot. Like, for example, cry. What are the other verbs for it? Words for it? Weep, sob, blubber, howl, wail, whimper, shed tears, etc. For laugh, having a good vocabulary, same one word, a lot of other words for it. Giggle, chuckle, cackle, roar with laughter, chortle, split one's sides, crack up. For being sad, what are the various adjectives? Somber, melancholy, sorrowful, blue, depressed, sick at heart, down. Funny, other adjectives? Amusing, hilarious, entertaining, witty, side splitting, laughable, good humored. If you do this kind of activities, you will certainly have a good vocabulary and you'd be able to read fluently and you'd be able to communicate better and quickly. Yeah. Now let's move on to the next unit, which is interpersonal communication. Before we go any further, are we all okay? Are we there? Yes.
Yes, we are happy.
Yes. Do you want to take a break of 2 minutes? Drink water, use washroom. You want to take a break?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's take a break for 2 minutes. We'll take a break for 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope everybody has typed their names in the comment box so that when I take the attendance at the end of the session, I know who all were present here. If you have missed doing that, please put in your name once. Nirmal. Nirmal, are you from India? Your ancestors from India, Nirmal? Are you even there, Nirmal? Because Nirmal is an Indian name.
Yes, sir.
No?
My ancestors is from India.
Oh, your ancestors were from India. Okay.
Yeah,
And
from
where do you
Bihar. From
where do
Bihar.
you live from?
Yeah. Bihar.
Bihar. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. So do you still cook Indian dishes or not?
Yes, still. And
Still?
yeah, and I can speak some words. मैं
Oh, really?
हिंदी थोड़ा थोड़ा बोलता हूँ.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Sounds good.
Yes. जो काम मैं करता हूँ, it's important. It ज़रूरी है. I'm a custom officer. So
Oh,
to talk with the passengers, it's a plus for me to have learn Hindi.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So good to find you here, Nirmal. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Wow.
Yes.
And we also have Upasna Rajkumar. Upasna is also an Indian name, and she hails from Mauritius. Mahadevan Muttuswamy, another Indian fellow over here. So nice to see you people here. Cool. More or less everybody has 1 more minute will take and we'll begin then. Cool. Should I continue now? Should we begin?
Yes.
Yes,
I
sir.
have
Yes,
a person come back.
Okay. Let's begin. Now I'm going to talk about interpersonal communication. When I say interpersonal, it means between two persons or more persons, right? Among two different people or more of different people, two or more people, it is called interpersonal communication. Now, why is it important in business, the interpersonal communication? See, any organization or any business is not made of the building and the material and the walls and files and folders and gadgets. Business or organization is constituted by the people working in it. And hence, the people who work within the organization, when they communicate within themselves and when they communicate to people outside, whether customers, clients, or your suppliers, or vendors, or whoever, you're communicating, the people in the organization are communicating with everybody. So when this communication is good, when this interpersonal communication is good, it will help the business. And if it is not, it will hamper the business, right? So unit 6 talks about interpersonal skills of communication. There are 4 principles of interpersonal communication. What are they? It is inescapable. Point number 1. Why? Because we are dealing with people, any business. We are dealing with people and there are people within the organization. So it has to happen. If there is no communication, how are we going to cooperate? How are we going to collaborate? How are we even going to work? Right? Then it is irreversible. Once the communication is done, once you have said something, once you have written something, once you have shown certain signal, once you have given certain expression, it is done. It is not reversible. You can make up for it, you can try to cover it up, but then it cannot be reversed. It's complicated. Why is it complicated? Because it has a lot of aspects related to it, like body language, like different people from different communities and backgrounds and so societies and cultures and financial status, right? Everybody has his own interest. All departments have their own interest. There are formal and non-formal communications happening, and hence interpersonal communication is very complicated and it is contextual. Why? Because whenever this communication is happening, it has to have some background. It is always related to something. It has a purpose behind it, and hence it's always contextual. So there are 4 principles of interpersonal communication: inescapable, irreversible, complicated, and contextual. Now, on Facebook, you have a lot of friends, or Instagram, you have a lot of friends, or any other social network. Yeah. But they say nothing. How would that be? Weird. So, it is important when it comes to interpersonal communication, it is important to have emotional intelligence. When you're dealing with people, it is important that you have emotional intelligence. Yes, because we need to understand people's emotions and we need to communicate it emotionally. It is humane, right? You're dealing with human beings. And even when you're dealing with animals, you need to be emotional, right? So, interpersonal management skills, what are they? Self-awareness. You should know yourself well, not only as an individual, but as an organization or a department or as a team. Self-management. You should be able to manage yourself well. Your time, your clothes, your ideas, your concepts, your beliefs, your emotional status, your emotional intelligence. Social awareness. Whatever is happening around, what's happening in the world? Is there a Ukraine Russia war going on? Is there terrorism in certain parts of the world? Right? Social awareness. What's happening within your own country? Is there a famine or a drought in a certain part of the country? Is the country celebrating? Yes. Social awareness. What is good for the society? What is bad for the society? How you should behave with ladies? Yeah, social awareness. Relationship management, keeping good bond with people, maintaining good relationship with people. Yeah, if there are problem, if there are glitches, how to mend them, how to repair them. Building communication skills, having good communication skills. So whether it is about language, whether it is about the vocabulary you use, whether it is about how to present yourself, all that is a part of communication skills. Be empathetic. You should be understanding others' emotions and problems. Listen actively and avoid stereotyping. Now, this is very important. All of us have this habit. All of us. Yeah. We have this habit of judging people. And we have some preoccupied notions about people. Oh, okay. This kind of clothes, which means this person should be so and so. Oh, this person comes from that country. All people in that country are so. Yeah, stereotyping people. All women cannot drive. Stereotyping, which is not good. You should not do it that way. Yeah. Now we're talking about interpersonal skills. I will be giving you certain mantras, right? How you can improve your interpersonal skills. So first one, when you want to have a good, healthy interpersonal communication, what do? Ask open-ended questions. Now, what is an open-ended question? Any question which has a very limited one or two word answer. It is called a closed-ended question. But any question which leaves scope for the other person to answer in a few, say, couple of sentences or more words, it would be called an open-ended question. You should always ask open-ended questions when you want to have a good, healthy interpersonal communication. So I will give you some examples of closed questions and open questions. Open-ended question, closed-ended question would be, do you like books? Yes. Have you been to university? No. Is spring your favorite season? Yes. Am I intruding? No. All these are closed questions. Open questions. What sort of books do you like? What did you study at university? Oh, I like Sherlock Holmes and I like the kind of stories he writes. Yeah. In the university, oh, I studied business management. Which is your favorite season? Oh, I love winters. You can eat as much as you want in winters, and it does not impact your health. And you can wear nice layers of clothes, different colors. But in summers, you feel so hot, and in rainy season, it is so difficult to move out. Yeah, open-end question and closed questions. Yes, more examples. That's a very nice handbag. Where did you get it? Versus, I like your handbag. People will say thank you. So many of them. Yeah. Fantastic turnout. Which of the lecturers is your favorite? Closed ended. I love your costume. Which are your favorite sci-fi movies? Yeah. So try and give scope for other person to speak. That will also help you understand the other person, his attitude, his interest, his choices more, and it will also help you build up a rapport with the other person. Number 2, keep the conversation going with small talk. Now, what is small talk? Things which are simple and light are small talk. When you talk about very difficult or very technically, detailed things, or things that require a lot of knowledge, often other person may not be interested in it or may not have enough knowledge. Like, for example, a blog, a website, renovation, art, vacation, these are all small talks. Season, yeah. But then politics, religion, nuclear disarmament, all these are not small talks, heavy things. Yeah. So when you want to have a good, healthy, nice interpersonal communication, choose topics which are easier, which are commonly understood, which are commonly liked. Point number 3, give encouraging feedback. When somebody else is speaking, you should show interest, give feedback. Say, aha, wow, oh, right? You should give nice, interesting, encouraging feedback to people. Oh my goodness, is that so? So all this will help you build a good relationship with the other person. The other person will feel being in, that you're interested in that person and his talk, and that will help you build a good rapport with your business associate, whether within the organization or outside. So give good feedback. Say words of sensory nature. Whenever you're listening to somebody, when you're talking to somebody, and when they're saying something, you should use words which show your emotional status, your being sensitive. Oh, I see. Oh, imagine, it's so difficult. I can feel. Let me tell you, I can sense. Yeah, all these are sensory natured words. Like, for example, how do you feel about the new plans for renovating downtown? What do you imagine he was thinking when he asked to pay a rise higher than the boss's salary? What do you imagine? Yes. So all these words, they have an emotional connect. Point number 5. Be aware of your internal monologue. Now, what is internal monologue? All of us within our minds, within our hearts, keep talking to ourselves. Yes, we have certain things going on in our heart, in our mind. Am I right? Am I correct? Should I say this? What will the other person think? Would he be angry? Would he like it? Would she retaliate? Would she scold me? All this is going on within our mind. You need to be aware of it and control it, right? Because when this overpowers you, it hampers your speaking skills. It stops you from listening properly, right? And it spoils your mood. It spoils relationships. It spoils communication. It spoils your capabilities, your productivity. Yep. So don't let the internal monologue overpower you ever. Number 6 is respond thoughtfully. You should understand what the other person is saying, what he or she needs and requires, and then respond to it. At times we are responding, oh, aha, and you don't even know what the other person is expecting. Is he looking for help? Is he um, is he showing his angst? You should be thoughtful. Yeah. Number 7, maintain the equilibrium. Now, what do we mean by this? By this, we want to say that you should give equal chance to the other person to talk and give equal importance to both the people, yourself and the other person. Right? When you're in a business meeting, the other party also has certain interests that they have come to discuss with you. So there should be a balance between you and the other party. Their interest, your interest. Their priorities, your priorities. Their chance of speaking and listening, your chance of speaking and listening. There has got to be an equilibrium. There are 3 questions that you should ask yourself. Am I giving the other person opportunity to talk? Am I actively listening and responding? And am I okay with occasional silences? Because a lot of times people are in such a hurry and they're so worried about the communication that if there is a pause, if there is a silence, they feel something is going out of their hands. And they want to come up with something quickly. There should be no silence. But the fact is that these pauses and silences help us understand. Take a pause and then go for the next item. And very important thing, the $1 million question. You should always ask the pertinent and perfect questions. One, obviously the other person can talk about himself, herself. New things can be explored. And 2, the right questions will get you the right answers. In turn, the right information. Right questions, $1 million questions. Keep inviting the other person to contribute to the conversation. What do you say? What is your opinion? Yeah? And inspire them with ideas. Tell them, oh, do you know this? Oh, I can tell you about this. Look at this. This is so funny. And you know what it reminds me of? So all this kind of sentences, all this kind of ideas and concepts, they will also invite the other person and inspire him to get involved in the conversation. Now look at these high level meetings, these summits, when the president of one country or prime minister of one country is speaking to the top leadership of the other country. It is not only those 2 people, there are multiple people sitting on both the sides of the table. Now when they are discussing, they need to allow the other person to speak, invite them to speak, inspire them with newer ideas. That's how countries collaborate with each other. That's how these G20 summits and other international bodies, they work simultaneously in coordination and cooperation with each other. And finally, listen actively. We've already discussed listening skills. If you don't listen, if you just hear, I think communication is not complete. It's very important that you listen and forget yourself. Don't always be interested in yourself. People who are focused upon themselves, who are always talking about themselves, they are often not liked by most of the people. And people feel that this person is narcissist and is interested in himself or herself only. We cannot talk to him. We cannot discuss business with him. He will only seek his own interest. So forget yourself and be respectful. See, certainly there'll be points, there'll be occasions when you don't agree with the other person, right? There is disagreement, but and that does not mean that you should not show your disagreement. You should not. You have to voice your disagreement. If there is something that you don't like, that you are not convinced with, you have to say it, but then say it politely, say it respectfully. Yeah. Otherwise, the agenda goes haywire if you use a foul language. Yeah. So you have the right of disagreeing, but then do it with respect. Respect is utmost important. And silences, we've already talked about it. There will be occasional silences, and we need to be considerate about it, accept it, and go ahead. Use those pauses to think about what's coming next. What other things you could be talking about? Is the conversation going in the right direction? Use these pauses for that. Give me a pause for a second. Just 1 second. Okay. And you should also know when the conversation comes to an end. Because a lot of people, they keep talking, they don't ever stop. And that's what makes the conversation dull and boring. And there is a time when we say goodbye. It cannot be never ending. So you should stop your conversation at the right time on a positive note. Otherwise, the people will lose interest and they will not come for the next meeting. Yeah. Now look at this picture. It is an advertisement by Ford. Here in this picture, the company wanted to say that, okay, our car has so much of space that 3 women can comfortably be there. But then is that a good advertisement? No. It is disrespectful for women. It is violent. It is cruel. It is inhuman. Look at the man. He is smiling. Look at him. He's smiling and showing a victory sign. While the 3 women are in pain. It is ruthless, cruel, bad advertisement. What seems to be an advertisement about the large space in the trunk of this Ford, they fail to see the issue in showing 3 women seemingly tied up in distress. This ad seems to be aimed at serial killers and kidnappers who want a car with enough room for a body or 2 or 3 in the back of their car. Yeah? That's what. Another case study. Next, we will be talking about meetings. What is a meeting? A meeting is a group communication when 2 or more people come together and they discuss on a pre-decided agenda. They have already decided what they are going to talk about and find a solution, find a conclusion or answer to it, resolve a certain issue, and at a set time. A particular time is decided when they meet. For a particular duration they meet. This is what is meant by a meeting or meetings. What are the objectives of the meetings? It is very important for every meeting to have an objective. What is the objective of a meeting? We share information, we improve the productivity, we resolve communication gaps, we address the concerns of employees or people involved in the meeting, forming policies, clearing doubts, addressing staff grievances, obtaining feedback, and there could be so many other reasons of having meetings. Yeah, a lot of different kinds of meetings. These are some of them. And depending on these objectives, we have types of meetings. Status update meeting, decision-making meeting, planning meeting, collaboration meeting, problem-solving meeting, brainstorming meeting, team building meeting, debrief meeting, also known as feedback meeting, and innovation meeting. And the names by themselves explain what they are about. Yeah. So if there is a decision to be made, we do a meeting, and that's a decision-making meeting. We want to find a solution. We want to ideate. We want to develop new concepts. Brainstorming meeting. Yeah. So types of meetings. Look at the 2 pictures. So this man in the first picture, he says, I don't always mute my mic. But when I do, it's right when I'm about to say something. What is it about? Online meetings. These digital meetings, online meetings, they have their own norms and set of rules. Yeah. When you accidentally share the wrong screen, oh my God. Online meetings, digital meetings, they're so common these days. And hence there are certain etiquettes to be followed for every meeting. First and foremost, as we discussed some time ago, time is so important. Yeah. So you should be on time for any meeting, which shows that you're serious about it. And obviously you don't miss out anything. And you're able to contribute to the meeting. So be on time. Make introductions of people and topics. Agendas, yeah? Have a strong agenda. There should be a strong reason enough for a meeting, because everybody is sparing time for the meeting. Everybody is making efforts to come for the meeting. They're sacrificing something else for the meeting. So there has got to be a good purpose and agenda for the meeting. Sit appropriately. People are given seats, allocated seats, either sit on the allocated seat or there is a designated seat for you as per the rank, as per the seating arrangement. Sit at the proper place. Speak up. Don't be quiet in a meeting. You're going for a meeting not to look at faces. You also have certain ideas. You also have certain answers. Speak up. Understand the unwritten speaking rules. There are rules which are not written, right? So in a meeting, you cannot be playing with your pen, playing with your mobile. So this rule may not be written that you don't play with your mobile, but it is understood, unwritten speaking rules. Do not take phone calls during the meeting. Do not drink and eat during the meeting. Clean up after yourself. Do not save all your questions for the end. In a lot of meetings, we wait for the right time, and often the right time never comes. Or there are so many people asking questions, you don't get time to speak. A meme. On Zoom meetings, if it is an audio only meeting, you don't dress up, you go anyway. But if there is a video meeting, you dress up and you tidy yourself very nicely, groom yourself nicely. Accidentally turning on the webcam. So you're doing a webcam with your camera off, and suddenly if you put it on, oh my god. Which simply means that you should be ready for all the meetings, whether online meetings or offline meetings. A lot of us are working from home these days. For past 2-3 years, this new trend has started, working from home. And so we become clumsy and lazy. We don't dress up well. But suddenly, if there is a need and you have to turn your camera on, or you do it by mistakenly, this is what happens. Also, in online meetings, I hate when people keep their cameras off. Right? So, when asked for, you should turn your mic and camera on. Otherwise, the people who's the person who is speaking, the presenter, they often feel they're speaking to a wall. Yeah. So with this, we complete the previous unit. The next unit is presentation skills. The next unit is presentation skills. And there are a few slides. I think we should complete these few slides and then. So tomorrow we'll start with a fresh presentation then. So now what are presentation skills? It is integrally important in business because every now and then you have to present your idea, your concept, your report, your project. Yeah, a lot of presentations keep happening in all the companies. So how do you do a good presentation? And why do you do a good presentation? You do a presentation to introduce a new product or service. You present a new business plan. You take up a presentation for a market plan or increasing the sales of a product, or maybe for a conference or seminar, or resolving an issue, or maybe you want to present or analyze a report or project, or maybe displaying yourself, your abilities, your work in an interview or a program. All of them are presentation requiring, skills that require associated with presentation. So let's begin with how to plan a good presentation. And I am giving you a small idea. It's called the STAR strategy. STAR strategy. What is STAR strategy? S stands for situation, T stands for task, A stands for action, and R is about results. Situation, set the scene. Task, describe the purpose. Action, explain what you did. Result, share the outcome. So any kind of presentation can be made keeping this STAR strategy in mind. Situation, task, action, result. What was the problem? What was the situation? Define it. What was the task? Right? What was your target? What had to be done? Say that. What action did you take? Do that, say that. And then what was the outcome, result, or conclusion? Yeah. Now, when you're doing a star strategy, there are some filters that you need to keep in mind. Who is the target audience? Who is going to listen to you? Whom are you going to communicate with? Are they small kids? Are they your clients or customers? Are they women? Are they elderly people? Are they backward classes? Right? Financially sound, unsound people? Target audience. Who is your target audience? Keep in mind. Why are you doing it? What is the purpose? What is the target? Why do you do it? You want to convince people, you want to convey some message, you want to tell them about a problem, you want to find a solution to it. Why are you doing it? Where are you doing it? Is it a small hall? Is it a huge place? Do you have a big screen there? Do you have small screens there? Are you going to speak on mic? How many people are going to attend? How far is it? How close is it? All, everything. When? The time? Night, morning, afternoon? When? What? What is going to be the content? What are you going to talk about? What are the examples? What are the parables? What are the statistics and data? What is your opinion about it? What is your answer to the question? You need to be prepared with the content. So, 5 filters of star: who, why, where, and when. Who, why, where, when, and what. Now, look at this picture, an example. Texting while driving kills. For more driving tips, text safety to 79191. Isn't it weird? There is this huge hoarding. Firstly, attracting people's attention while driving. Then it is talking about texting while driving kills. Good message. But then, what is the call for action? The call for action is for more driving tips, text, send a message. Hilarious. Yeah? Weird advertisement. Bad communication. Now, when you're talking about presentation skills, I think there is something that a lot of us face: the stage fright, the fright of facing people, the fright of presenting about in front of other people. Glossophobia is the name given to it. Glossophobia. How do you get rid of glossophobia? Get organized. You should have a system. You should have all your information, everything ready. You should know what will come first and then what will follow. Get organized. Where is what? Where is your diary? Where is your pen? Where is the projector? Where did you keep the pen drive? You should know it. Be organized. Then you should have the knowledge of the topic. Whatever we're going to talk about, whatever we're going to discuss, you should be informed about it. Knowledge of the topic. Practice it. You should be able to practice it well. Challenge specific worries. You could have certain worries. What will people think? Would I really make an impact? Would people understand? Would there be a solution? Would whatever. The mic should not go, lights should not go off. All that. Right? Challenge them. Visualize success. Whenever you're going on stage, be sure that you will be successful, and then draw a visual picture of it within your mind, that you will be successful, and how would that look? The moment of success, when you've completed, when people are impressed, when your job is done, visualize it in your mind. Deep breathing. Deep breathing is very important. Before going on stage, ever, you should sit at a place, deep breathly for 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes, and then begin. That will help you gain confidence a lot. Focus on presentation, right? Whatever you're going to present, focus on that. Do not fear a moment of silence. There could be moments when you go silent, when you want to organize your thoughts, when you want to recollect an idea, when you're looking for some data. It's okay. Do not be afraid of it. And recognize your success. When you succeed, when you do good, pat yourself, pat your own back, appreciate yourself. incentivize yourself with an ice cream. Yeah, or whatever. But recognize your success. Don't always feel, oh, it was done. Yeah. Okay, look at this picture. I'll have you know I gave a minute long speech in class today, and I only said 43 times. Yeah. Prepare yourself well. You should be ready. You should be prepared with it. So, this was majorly about block 2. I think for today, we'd be stopping here. But before stopping, I would request if you people have any questions, any queries, any doubts, anything that you want to say, ask, tell, please do that right now. Yeah? Yes.
Yes,
Mike.
good evening. Good evening.
Yes. Yes, Mike, go ahead.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Thank you so much. We are really appreciating. It is so clear. But I'm inquiring, when shall we get the notes for our revision?
No, I didn't get you. Could you please type it in the message box and ask me?
I am saying,
Yeah.
when shall we have the notes? The notes.
You want the notes? Okay.
Yes.
I will share the notes. I will share it.
Okay.
I will talk to the authorities. What's the best way of sharing the notes? Should I share it in the classroom? Let me find out. I'll share the
Okay.
notes.
Okay.
No
Thank
problem.
you so much. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Yeah. Who else? Nabi Manya Norman. Nabi Manya Norman. Yeah. Nabi Manya Norman. Am I
Yes, thank you,
pronouncing?
Doc. Thank you very much.
Yes.
We are appreciating Norman Aimanya from Uganda.
You're welcome and thank you. Yes. Go ahead,
Yes.
Norman.
And I have no question, just I'm appreciating for your service.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. That's so sweet of you. I'm touched. Thank you so
All right.
much. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. And then Aliyu Umar Aliyu.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine. Thank you for this wonderful presentation.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
I
It's a pleasure.
just realized that I and some of our colleagues we missed yesterday's class. That is, we were not able to attend yesterday's class due to maybe the network. I don't know what happened, but we were not able to attend yesterday's class. So I don't know if you share the slide for yesterday's lecture.
Oh, I
That's
will. I will share. I will discuss with the authorities what is the right way of sharing it. I will definitely share it.
all right.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, sir.
It's a
Have a
pleasure.
nice day.
Thank you. Thank you. Who else? Yes, thank you for all the messages. I can read them. I can read. Thank you. Thanks a lot for appreciating. I can read the messages. Thank you. So, should we break? I don't think there are any questions. Yeah, should we break for today then?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes,
Okay. Thank
Who
you,
should we say
everybody. Yes, Khalid. Yes, Khalid. Tell me.
Sir, I just let me appreciate you also for the wonderful presentation, sir.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you so
Nice,
much. It's my
nice to
job.
have you, sir. Thank you
It's a
very much, sir.
pleasure to
Bye-bye.
interact with you people. Thank you so much. It's an honor. Thank you so much. We'll catch you tomorrow evening. Evening for me, obviously, at the same
All right.
time as per your country, right? Thank you so
Right.
much. It's a pleasure
Thank you,
interacting
sir.
with people. Thank you, everybody.
Tomorrow. All right.
Thank you. Y'all can leave now. I will be recording the attendance and then leave. So, yeah, fine. Thank you.